Hey, and welcome back to Talk of Better Worlds. This is podcast number 5. Today we are going to talk a little bit about I don't know, basically just the evil among us. I'm Sir Felix the Cat, and with me as always, I have Hawk. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How about you?
Not bad. I had a great, wonderful day dealing with the heat. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. It's my favorite thing ever.
Yeah. It's it's a fun time.
Yep. And then dealing with stuff like Amazon, the great holy Amazon that just hates life.
Yeah,
Makes
run
us all
by
hate life.
the Bezos.
Yes, the Bezos. Yeah, so this is kind of another topical topic we're using with the evil among us. I mean, I've written down a few different people who their biggest crime is probably genocide.
Probably.
Yeah, but yeah, what about you? Do you have anybody who stands out to you?
Like from my list or just in general or real
Just
people?
in general, it could be fictional, real. I mean, we
Uh,
got Hitler. Hitler, you got it like straight up. That's like
yeah.
a guide point of everything.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going with real people and not current people, because that might be a little contentious, I'm going to say probably Andrew Jackson. That's one that sticks out to me.
Yeah,
The whole
he was a
Trail
little
of Tears
tyrannical.
thing.
He was interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting guy.
Yeah.
I mean, a
I mean, he
lot
was,
of our past leaders were pretty questionable at times, like for way back in the day.
yeah. I mean, I think all of them were really. You look at the personal motivations of everybody from the founding fathers all the way up to, you know, our most recent presidents. It's 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 always an interesting story when you dig into it.
Yep. Yeah, looking back on most of them is just it's terrifying.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrifying.
Yep.
But let's go to fiction. Do you have anybody in like a movie? Like who
Uh
would you say is the worst out of everybody who you've written down? Who is probably the worst,
oh, that's
the most
hard.
detestable?
Uh Probably. I mean, so I have two. I don't know if we could say the word, so we'll call them windmill boys. The guys who follow Mustache Man.
Yeah.
Um, I've got two of them on there, and I think they probably from movies, and I think they're just naturally the worst. But if we're not gonna go with them, I gotta say Calvin Candy from my list, the Leonardo DiCaprio's character from Django Unchained. He's pretty
Oh, okay.
despicable.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever watched that. I need to.
Oh, it's a great movie.
Awesome. What all does he do? Just basically racist stuff? Because I'm assuming that's the character he plays.
Yeah, yeah. So he's a plantation owner with a bunch of slaves, and he acts in a manner that you don't often see in fictional or even documentary style depictions of the 1860s and the Civil War era and U.S. slavery. Um, it's very realistic and very 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 dark, despicable, evil stuff. He's he enjoys basically torturing these people. I mean, he's all around a very bad dude. Effectively, thankfully, he gets a good end, I should say, a just end.
Awesome. I was just thinking of a new person. And I have this guy written down, but for some reason, bringing up Django Unchained made me think of it. Uh, Captain Vidal of from Pan's Labyrinth, the evil general
Okay.
guy from the beginning of the movie, or I guess he's in the whole thing, but that's where you see most of him. Is the very beginning.
Yeah, I've watched the movie once, and it was like at least 10 years ago. So I remember like the evil general guy, but that's about all I remember.
Yeah, yeah, he's very very Nazi esque. Probably the best way to describe him.
Yeah. Yeah, but what about you? Who else do you have?
I mean, my number one pick is pretty hard. It's kind of split between three. Two of them are known for genocide, and one of them is one of the greatest villains to ever exist, but he's also one of the most vile, disgusting characters to ever exist, and that would be the Joker.
Yeah.
Because the Joker doesn't just kill people, because that's one of his things. He just relentlessly kills people in Gotham, well, all around the world. But he's also, like R-worded people. He did that to Batgirl.
Yep.
He also does a lot of mental manipulation, which is pretty horrible. He turned a slightly innocent doctor into a mad woman.
Yeah.
But he's done so much, and he just loves to hate on his crush and try to make him go crazy. His man crush.
Yeah, his best friend, his love, his everything.
Yeah,
the Batman.
He's definitely got to be my top choice for most disgusting human to ever exist.
Yeah, he's pretty despicable. And like, it depends on how he's written. Sometimes, not very often, but sometimes he could almost be like understandable.
Yeah.
And like why he turned out the way he did. Not relatable, but understandable.
Yeah, like in the Dark Knight series. Like I think it was the Dark Knight. In that one, he is more relatable. He's a better. He's not as disgusting. He's terrible. The things he's doing is terrible, but at the same time, you can understand him. You can connect with this guy.
You get why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though he doesn't tell us a true story, he tells 3 different stories in that of why he got his scars and whatnot.
I think so. I really like that he did that though, because it's the perfect thing for his character. He'll never tell you the truth.
Yeah, and it wasn't just like the classic him falling into a pit of acid, and now he looks like this.
Yeah, yeah, which worked back in the day, but not for today.
Yeah, definitely back in the 80s, it was much better with Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, that was still a good portrayal.
Yeah, I like that portrayal of Batman too, like, or at least of Bruce, for how he, like, when they the thugs bust into the apartment or whatever, and he's there and he puts like that plate underneath his shirt so he doesn't get shot, knowing he's going to draw their attention to get shot.
Yeah.
Like he was good back then. I'm still kind of iffy on watching The Flash just because main actor, but I do want to see him in it. I want to see more of old man playing Batman again. But mainly because I want Batman Beyond. I really do so much. That would be beautiful, and he would make a good old man Batman. Yeah,
he would actually. I still, I don't know. There's a couple superhero things that I would like to see, despite the burnout. There's still a few things that I would like to see. That'd be pretty cool.
Oh, speaking of superheroes, so I did learn this is not really evil person stuff, unless you just don't like the actress. But Ant-Man had a big change in cast. Evangeline Lilly, or whatever her name is, she retired.
Oh.
Yeah, so we're not going to have a Wasp. So if they're going to have a Wasp, they have to replace her. Her character was specifically written for the MCU. Like, she's not in the comics, or I don't know if she is now, but originally she wasn't in the comics.
Okay.
So yeah, it's going to be kind of interesting to see where that goes. See how they're going to handle that. Are they going to write her out? Like, is she going to have died? Because that it'd be fitting. I mean, Wasp could give her life to save Ant-Man or something, or save her dad. That would make even more sense.
That's like, so I think Hollywood in particular, and producers of TV shows and things like that, I think they assume that the majority of people will not accept a recast for a big character. So they always go with we'll just write them off and they died, or they left, or she's off doing something else and she can't be here now, blah blah blah, whatever. I think it's cheap. And I keep seeing, at least online, which is not the greatest indication of what the majority feels, but online I keep seeing at least that people seem to want, a replacement of the actor or actress, a recast, and better writing. So, I mean, I think if they recast her, that would be pretty cool, but they probably won't.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool to not. It would have been. I was kind of hoping, since they did Hawkeye, and they have the girl playing Hawkeye, at least in the series, like they're moving on from Jeremy Renner into I think her name is Haley Steinfeld. I haven't watched the
Ah,
show, and she's a singer too, I think. But
okay.
yeah, they're moving on to her to be Hawkeye, which is pretty cool. Like I'm all down for that, to bring in a younger generation, because one of my favorite animated movies from Marvel is what is it, Future Avengers or something like that, where it's like the kids, like I think the Captain America kid is the son of Captain America, and I think it's Black Widow.
Okay.
Which is an interesting mix. But yeah, like that would have been cool to like eventually lead up to something like that, like have a younger generation come in, kind of like they do with Young Justice and the DC universe and whatnot.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty dope. But yeah, so like having a kid of them would be pretty awesome, I guess. I mean, the power is kind of, I guess, runs out of juice. I don't see how it could really go on for too long. Like he shrinks, he can get big, he goes super small. That's cool and whatnot. But yeah. But anyways, let's get off the MCU, because that's a whole
that's a
whole situation there. Yeah. But yeah, so let's go back to some other ones. Here's one that I want to see if it throws you off any.
Okay.
Because I've never connected this with it when I used to watch the cartoon back in the day. But Aku from Samurai Jack. I mean, he on the base level, like surface level, he doesn't look like, or he doesn't come off as being like this all powerful evil. Like, yeah, he's all powerful, but he doesn't seem too evil, because all you really hear about is that, yeah, he killed, I believe it was, he killed Jack's wife or something like that, and he sent him back in time and whatnot. But apparently, this dude has genocided multiple different, or like countless nations.
Oh,
like he's a horrible guy.
Well, then, yeah, I would count him up there with some of the worst.
Yeah, I did not know that. Like, I was like, yeah, okay, Aku is just like this all-powerful, basically dark wizard. But no, this dude's just pure evil. Which I have a whole new respect for Jack.
Yeah. I didn't even know that. Because my experience with Samurai Jack was watching it when I was very young, being kind of razzle dazzled by the cool animation and him chopping everything up, and not really paying too much attention to the story, and then moving on. Never watching it again.
Yeah, and then years later just being like, wow, maybe he's the guy who created the Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah, I did run into that years later. Like, oh yeah, Samurai Jack, what is it? Yeah, he's the dad. He's the Powerpuff Girls'
the
dad.
professor.
And I do believe that. I don't even think that's like, I don't think that's a wild theory. I think that's just fact.
Yeah, that was one who I was surprised by when I was going through a list, because I literally just Googled, like, who are some evil characters who have just committed genocide.
Mm-hmm.
And of course it brought me like real life people, and it's like, I'm not going down that rabbit hole right now. Let's go to fictional. Yeah, he was at the top of the list, and I was like, that's interesting. Never would have guessed.
So I pulled what I think is the grandfather of despicable, genocidal, evil maniacs. Okay. The King of Kings, the Lord of Lords. Okay. The God Emperor of mankind from Warhammer 40K.
Oh, I honestly thought you were going to say Palpatine there at the end.
No, Palpatine is a child in a sandbox compared to the Emperor.
Well, I started thinking of like old man. It's like, yeah, I mean, that's the old man right there.
Yeah. I mean, the Emperor has any alien race that he comes into contact with, that humans come into contact with, is marked for 100% genocide, just deleted from the universe. And most of the time they do that. They succeed in doing that. He has no emotion for people at all. People are tools to his end. He doesn't care about his own creations, even the people he calls his sons. He no love for anything but, I guess, the idea of the greater humanity, the greater human cause. And to make sure that we succeed, whatever success looks like in his eyes, I guess, he'll do anything. Absolutely anything.
Yeah, he's an interesting one. I do like his relationship with his sons, because he will just straight up have them killed by his other sons.
Oh yeah. He removed 2 of them from just history and existence in general. The 2nd and 11th legions, I believe, the Primarchs are just deleted. The other Primarchs know of them, but they're forbidden from even talking about them.
Nice.
Yeah. So I
Nice.
think he's up there in the evil category.
Yeah. Yeah. How high on like an evil villainy list would you put Vader?
um so if we're considering like EU stuff, like
Yeah.
extended universe and the movies and everything, I'd put Vader on like pretty high, but not as high as some people might think. Um I mean, he just straight up killed a bunch of kids, though.
Yeah.
Like that's, but he also, he enjoys torturing people. He hunts people down. He'll just take anybody out who gets it his way at all. I don't think he's done the big G word before. I don't think he's genocided anybody or any people. Oh wait, no, oh
Yeah, he comes up on the list of genocide. I didn't know about that one either, but I'm
well,
also not like the biggest into Star Wars. I love it, but not that huge.
the Sand People. I don't think he succeeded, but I know he would just often land on Tatooine and hunt sand people for sport effectively. Like that was something he did when he needed to, let off some steam effectively. We play a video game or, go to the bar or something. He goes to Tatooine and exterminates entire tribes of sand people. But
Oh
so, I mean,
yeah, there we go in the chat. Yeah, didn't he kill the people who killed his mom?
Yep. Yeah, the sand people. Yep.
Oh, it was them. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, he wiped out the entire like tribe that was responsible for the death of his mom, and
Yeah, which
then
I mean, can you call that one? It's revenge. It's it's a tough one because it's bad. It's two wrongs don't make a right. But three make a left.
Yeah, and that's where that's where I wouldn't put Vader as high as I think his actions may warrant him, but that's because he's so understandable, I guess. Like he's so broken and was so wronged by everyone and everything around him, and manipulated. I mean, we can't forget about the fact that Palpatine just straight up used him and bent him and turned him into the monster that he became. I mean, you can't absolve Vader of all responsibility, but but I think he's a very malleable figure.
Is the games Force Unleashed, are they canon or are they considered just like loose fiction of it?
They're not canon, unfortunately.
Okay, I was gonna say because in there he's the most disgusting I can remember seeing him, because he just strings along your main character, and he's wonderful. He's a wonderful guy in that. Love him.
Well, yeah, and also we can't forget about Alderaan. Well, I don't know, okay, so Alderaan, Leia's planet.
Okay.
The Death Star blew it up.
I started thinking of Lord of the Rings for some reason.
Too many IPs. No, but Alderaan. So yeah, Leia's home planet. They blew it up with the Death Star. Now, here's the question of the day, though: was it Vader or was it Grand Moff Tarkin? Because Tarkin was in command of the Death Star. Vader was overseeing it, but I'm pretty sure Tarkin is the one that gave the command to blow the planet up. I'd have to go back and look at that. I can't remember.
Yeah, it's one I don't know too much about. I can't really jump into that.
It's been too long.
but that makes me think of another character then. This is a very debated one because people have mixed opinions of him, but Thanos.
Thanos?
Is he the ultimate good guy? He's trying to do a great thing, but it's in a very evil way.
So we're getting philosophical here.
Yeah, that's a big one.
I mean, I think by definition, he's a bad guy. Like, he's evil. I mean, he's willing to just delete half of life. I think that's pretty despicable. Even if the reasons might be, or maybe not reasons, but the rationale might be kind of like I get it.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like trying to take the circle peg and it doesn't fit in the triangle hole, so you just hammer it in. Yeah. You made it fit, but it wasn't supposed to. So I think he still counts as pretty evil.
Yeah, I mean, I've always had mixed opinions on like most of the other stuff he does outside of like snapping his fingers and killing everybody or half the people is just pure evil. Like he's a terrible father. He of his two adoptive daughters, but he treats them like trash. I mean, one of them is basically just out to eventually kill him because he's that terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's his whole like mindset behind it, because he truly believes what he's doing is pure. Like it's a great way to help save people from being hurt, because he experienced great hurt to get there.
I mean, really, if you look at every bad guy, even in real life, like especially in real life, I think all of them feel that way though about what they're doing. Like even Hitler felt that way. He felt like he was doing a good thing, like he was somehow saving the planet, or doing what was right. Even came up with excuses like being ordained by God. Like I mean, that phrase has been used a lot for great things. But yeah, I mean, I think all bad guys think that they're doing the right thing, and if you have so much faith in yourself and that you could do no wrong and that whatever you're doing is for the betterment of humanity or whatever, it could lead you down some really dark roads. The Emperor is that way too. I mean, he thinks what he's doing is the best for humanity.
Yeah. Skynet thought they were doing some, well, at first they were doing something good.
At first. Yeah.
Now, and then heck, the guy we watched recently, Hemsworth's character in
Dementus.
Yeah, Dementus thought he was doing something great, because he to an extent he did really care about his people. He wanted them to thrive, wanted them to not die and be able to eat and whatnot. But yeah, just had terrible ways of going about it.
Yeah, that's a very, very common theme with bad people. I mean, like even current events, but people think they're doing good when they're really not. That's kind of the problem with, I guess, morality in some cases. What is good? What's good to one person may be horrific to another.
Then we have those characters that are just absolute pure evil. Just there's no redeeming quality. They're not doing anything for a good purpose. Just it's all about them. And one of my picks for that was Frieza, because Lord Frieza just doesn't care. He's there to kill. He is the most powerful. He knows he's powerful, and he will kill anybody who gets in his way just because he can.
Yeah, that one I'm not too familiar with. My knowledge of DBZ is next to zero.
Yeah, I mean, like this is a guy who, like, his ambition is basically just to kill. He eventually goes out of his way to just try to seek out Goku, who beat him up once. Who, he's like a little gangster who gets beat up and is like, well, I'm going to come back with my guns and more people, and we're going to kill you, and then dies again to a guy from the future with a sword, which was pretty beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, Frieza was great, because Frieza wiped out that's why the Saiyan planet doesn't exist in Dragon Ball. Is Lord Frieza. Yeah, so the Saiyans worked for Frieza because Frieza and his dad are just like, his family are just crazy powerful. So they were finally going to stand up against him. And Frieza was like, oh, okay, if that's what you're going to do. And with one finger creates this like giant energy ball and launches it at the planet with all the Saiyans who are like in space getting ready to fight Frieza. And yeah, kills them all. Wipes out everything.
Jeez.
You just had like the Saiyan royal family, which is Vegeta and his dad and whatnot. They escaped. And Goku was already off planet because he was on Earth. He had been sent there to take it over. I mean, the Saiyans aren't great either. They're a warrior race who are meant to just, they're pure conquest.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the four horsemen's conquest, the one everybody's super familiar with.
That blew my mind, man. That blew my mind. And like the reason behind it makes sense, because people conflate war and conquest, even though they are very different.
Yeah.
But it's just like hearing that, like, oh yeah, it's always been conquest. It was never pestilence. Like, what? Okay. Cool, I guess.
Yep.
Now, Frieza, every time I see Frieza, I think of Mewtwo from Pokemon.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're technically brothers on some weird level.
I mean, they both have that like light pinkish purpley
Yeah,
vibe going on, and I can't get that out of my head.
but Mewtwo's not inherently evil. He's a little messed up because he was created in a lab and whatnot.
Yeah.
Well, at least on that level, he's redeemable because he does get redeemed at the end. He tries to make everything right by flying off with his little homie who he's a clone of.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
the most sad, tear-jerking movie still to this day. Once Ash dies and Pikachu starts crying, the rest of the Pokemon are crying. It's just like how do you not get like teary-eyed looking at that?
Yeah.
It's sad. And then when they remade the movie a couple years ago, is like, okay, I'm gonna live through this again. I'm gonna be good this time. And nope, still hit you.
Was that the
Different
live
song,
action?
but it still hits you. Oh, not even the live action. They redid the cartoon.
Oh,
They just updated the graphics and all that. It kept the same story beats, everything.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I can't remember where I was. I think it was Netflix. I randomly saw it there. I was like, oh, cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I should do that with more stuff.
What,
It's
remake
like
it?
I want Little Nemo Adventures in Slumberland to be remade, like just updated. That'd be perfect.
Kind of like how they do with some older video games. Like they don't really remake it; they just kind of like upscale it and like port it or something. Like redo the art. But yeah, like in terms of not leaders, like evil people who are not leaders, do you have anybody?
Evil people who are not leaders. I mean, it depends. I need to read the comics to be sure on this one, but Rita Repulsa.
Okay.
The only reason she comes to mind is because at Summer Game Fest, they announced there's a new Power Rangers game coming out, which is Rita Rewind, and it looks like the old side scroller beat 'em ups, like the Ninja Turtle game that dropped a couple years ago.
Oh,
that
okay.
just blew up. Yeah, it looks beautiful. I so badly want that game when it comes out.
That's gonna be cool.
She worked under others. Like she was her own thing. She was the all-powerful thing originally, but then she was sealed away, came back, and she was released by someone else and worked as basically an underling.
Okay.
A higher ranking underling.
Okay.
So yeah, so not Hitler, but Hitler's like henchman. Yeah, that's the best way to describe it. But she's terrible. Like when she was on her own, she was an all-powerful sorceress. She did just kill hundreds. If you go by the live-action movie with the amazing Bryan Cranston, which is great because the Blue Ranger is Billy Cranston. But
okay.
Yeah, like she was terrible. She hunted the Power Rangers down, even though she was one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy story.
Yeah, I still have to watch that newer Power Rangers movie, like the more serious one that they came out with, like I don't know, like 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's the one with Cranston.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
I forgot. Wasn't Bryan Cranston in the old movies too? What was his name? Zordon or whatever?
No, he was Zordon in this movie, but I don't think he was in the old ones. He might have. If he was, I'm not aware of that because I thought they used mainly unknown people.
Oh yeah, no, okay, it was that bald guy. I don't know what his name is, but I'm looking at I just looked this up. Okay. I don't know his name, but yeah, it was somebody else. It wasn't Cranston. I have Cranston like burned into my mind though from that. I just think I confused the two.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still have to watch that new Power Rangers movie because it looks I mean, honestly, it looks kind of dumb, but I think I'll like it.
Oh, I loved it. I don't think the CG at the end when they're in their Zords is the best, but I love everything building up to that. Even the stupid music montage they do where they're getting all like into Power Ranger shape and training and whatnot. That's kind of dumb, but it still works because it's Power Rangers. It's not the most serious IP ever made.
Yeah, but, it works.
The best thing about that movie is the slap. The slap just pulls the whole thing through. It is fantastic.
Gwen says, what about Mystique or the Toad guy from X-Men?
Yeah, I'm trying to think what his name is. It's been so long. I like the Toad guy, though. I loved him in the movie when he finally comes face to face with Storm. And that was fantastic. She really just comes out and just like, oh, you're done.
His name His name is very difficult.
Toad?
I'll give you 2 guesses.
It's not Toad?
Oh, it's Toad.
Oh,
It's
okay. All right.
Yeah, what's that Toad guy's name? Toad. Yeah.
But yeah, Mystique, with her connection to Nightcrawler and whatnot, she is pretty terrible. But I mean, the Toad guy, I don't think they portrayed him right in the movie because he was too much comical relief. He was kind of cool, but they didn't take him seriously, which I don't know if they really took Mystique seriously in the movies.
Magneto's side piece.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the best way to describe her too.
Yeah, it's been so long since I watched those movies. Like, I remember bits and pieces. I intend on watching them again soon because I want to give them the attention that they deserve because they're really good.
Well, yeah, and they have the Yak Man.
Yeah, huge Yak Man. I love him as an actor too.
Yeah.
But isn't Jennifer Lawrence, what's her face? Mystique?
Was she in the original? I think it was a model in the original ones, and then she became. I could have this completely backwards, but I think it was later in like the future. I didn't watch these movies. Future Class, Future Past, whatever the heck it was. That's when she came in, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like, if I remember right, there was some chick who played her at first, and then she was replaced with Jennifer Lawrence. But pretty early on, if I remember right, I could be wrong, but I think like one or two, two movies in, she was replaced by Lawrence.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure that lady was just a French model or something like that.
That makes sense for that character.
The
that
one
makes
with
sense.
McAvoy, the Future Class or whatever. I can't remember what the heck they called him. I wish I would have watched them. I should have watched them, but that's when I started to feel the superhero fatigue. It wasn't until Captain America when I was like, oh yeah, I'm back in this.
Yeah.
Not that I like Captain America or anything.
Yeah, no, Captain America, that guy, he's garbage. No, I really, really, I think we've talked about this before, but I really like Captain America. And it's not because of any patriotic inclination or anything like that. I just think I like his moral compass.
Yeah. Yeah, I was actually, I was digging through my old stuff. I think I have it down here. Hold on. Yep, there we go. I've got a book right here. I forgot that I had bought this years ago, which is one of the best stories in Marvel, the Civil War, when you get to see like basically Captain America stand up for what is right, not just for the country, but what is absolutely right.
Yeah.
And they did it great in the movies too. He's on the right side, at least in my opinion. He is completely on the right side.
Yeah,
it's not like some Edward and Jacob battle. It's really just there's one right side, and there's one guy who's a rich jerk.
Yeah, I mean it's like companies versus the people, effectively, the interests of the people.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I like the way he's portrayed. I like the way Chris Evans, I think, played him. I'm actually kind of excited for that game with him and Black Panther coming up.
Oh, it looks so good. So good. Isn't that PC exclusive or something like that?
I hope not. I mean, I know I have a PC, but that would kind of suck.
I'm pretty sure it's a very limited like platform game.
I
could be wrong. It's made by a wonderful studio, though. I'm very excited for that. It looks amazing.
I have no idea. I imagine it's probably coming to next gen consoles and PC, but maybe a timed release, like PC first and then console second.
Yeah. Well, it needs to hit Switch too. That would be great.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very interested in seeing what the Switch 2 is capable of, or whatever they're going to call it.
Yeah. I'm still hoping for Super Nintendo Switch. That's beautiful.
That would be cool. That'd be a good name for it. But
David in the house. David McKnight.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, I also got I guess the Nazi characters that I have are kind of cheating because Nazis. But, I mean,
they're great people. What are you talking about?
I also wrote down a lot. Like it didn't even take me that long, but I just spent a couple minutes just writing down a bunch of just really evil people. Fictional people, I should say, just fictional people. But well, except for one. One is not fictional. He's from Schindler's List. Amon Goth or whatever his name was.
Yeah.
Bad. I think he was SS. That guy. But Nihilus, however you want to pronounce it, from Knights of the Old Republic 2. I know I've talked about him a lot with you. Did you see him at all? How much of KOTOR 2 did you play?
A whole 0 seconds.
0.0. No, Nihilus, I think, is pretty far up there on the chain of evil. The dude is capable of actually just deleting all life on a planet at will. He consumes them and their life force and leaves the planet totally barren, just a wasteland with not even like dead trees. Just it looks like the moon by the time he's done with it, but a planet.
Yeah.
Pretty evil dude.
What about the dude in Mass Effect 1?
Mass Effect 1. Oh, Saren?
Yeah, Saren.
I think he's another case of like, you know what? I don't think I would consider him evil.
Just misguided?
Misguided or really like possessed. I mean, he was indoctrinated. He was straight up indoctrinated by the Reapers. Now, like we could go into like, fine detail on what indoctrination entails lore wise, but basically to keep it as short as possible, like from what I gather, indoctrination sounds like at first you have free will, but you're like, it seems attractive to do whatever the Reapers want you to, but eventually it gets to the point where you're gone. Like you may not be dead, but it's almost like I don't know if you have brain damage, but you're still conscious. You have no control over what you're doing at a certain point. And I think Saren, while he did have consciousness, while he still had some control, he did some bad stuff. You know, he worked against the council and everything, but he still thought he was doing what was right ultimately, which again doesn't make it good. But I think by the time he does some really despicable stuff, he's gone. It's not even Saren anymore.
Yeah. I mean, you start to bring him back at the end if you talk to him, right?
Yeah, and he could, deal
with
finish the job
until he comes back as like a zombie, and then he just destroys you. He's like a Resident Evil zombie.
Yeah, that's crazy. Running around on all four limbs, like bent up and everything, and climbing on walls and stuff.
Dude, I remember the first time I played that game, and I got to that fight, and that was just that's when the game went from like an action to like a horror game, and one that I was just terrible at because he was so quick that I just couldn't get a beat on him, and I just died. Yeah,
that and weapon spread is like ridiculous in Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Well, the first one, I should say.
I think it was Mass Effect is why I use pistols in games, just because I feel like I have more control over everything.
Yeah, pistols were definitely the best choice for Mass Effect 1. And really, I mean, like you get some heavy hitting pistols in the whole trilogy.
Yeah.
But I love pistols. But yeah, that would do it. That would do it. Now, what about Dutch? What do you think about Dutch? You think he's evil? Dutch Vanderlyn from Red Dead.
I mean, that's a hard one because he's selfish. He is very in it for himself, but he's also kind of persuaded to be more evil by more convincing people around him. Like he's a talker, but he's also an idiot.
Yeah.
And if somebody tells him something, he believes it.
Yeah, he's gullible.
Yeah.
And easily persuaded.
Yeah. Now the guy who in Red Dead 2, who you have to deal with, who's basically your real enemy in Red Dead 2, he's evil. He's just pure evil. Whatever his name was.
Micah.
Yeah, Micah.
Yep. That dude is sick.
Yeah. Yep. Which he reminds me of someone else I have on my list. So there is a character from Final Fantasy 7, or not 7, 6. He is the main bad guy in it, and he's interesting. 'Cause he's a clown who just wants more and more power. That is Kefka. Kefka will just literally kill anyone, friend or foe. Just if you are gonna be in between him and ultimate power, you're dead.
Okay.
Like, even if you're working with him on the same goal, but that means you're also going to get some power, you're dead.
Okay.
He tries to commit genocide. I know he tries to commit it on the desert town, or the desert castle, but you guys use your desert castle trick of, I think, going underground or something like that and get away. But yeah, he's a very, he reminds me of Micah.
Yeah. Are there any other? I mean, I was looking through some lists too, and I saw a couple Final Fantasy characters. Actually, don't ask me to name them because I can't think of them. But it sounds like there's a couple pretty despicable Final Fantasy characters.
I mean, Sephiroth would be one who would come up on a lot. He is pretty evil. He was born from this alien thing. And that's what he calls mother. That technically is his mother because he's from it.
Okay.
But he's another one who's like, it's his goals are a little weird. It's because he feels like humanity has screwed him over, and he has a lot of like layers to him. He's not quite like the Joker, Kefka, or anybody else we've talked about so far. But he's pretty. He's manipulative. I guess he's kind of like the Joker in a way, where he has his own goals, but he thinks he's doing a good thing because it's for his mother.
Okay.
It's like what was that movie? Norman Bates. What do you think of Norman Bates as a character?
I think he's evil. I think he counts as evil. He disturbed. I mean, well, that's the thing. Like, so where's the boundary? You know what I mean? Like, if you have a psychological condition that makes you do some crazy stuff, like if you're like an actual psychopath, or which I think that, don't quote me, I think the definition of psychopathy is basically the inability to follow the law due to mental conditions, effectively. Could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So, like, are you evil because you have such a severe mental condition that you basically just do these things that other people consider despicable? You know what I mean? Is that evil?
Yeah. I mean, that would bring up another movie that I like, Split.
Yeah. Yep.
So, I mean, versions of him are evil, but which is the real him? And can that make him evil? Just because some of his personalities are just terrible.
Well, I think they're all the real him. That's the thing.
Yeah.
They're all him.
Yeah, they're part of him.
Yeah. And that goes, we're really getting philosophical here with this one. I think, like, if it's something that you cannot control, due to usually mental conditions, I don't know if that's evil. I'd say it's unfortunate and it's messed up and they need help, but I don't know if that's necessarily evil, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I don't know, I'm going to put that under the misguided.
Misguided, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be that category.
The gray.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like, because like the acts are evil by themselves, like just the act of murder or the act of like torture or whatever. I forget what happens in that movie with it's Split. I forget exactly what happens in that. But like, if it's done by someone who knows better and who can control themselves, I think that's evil. They do it because they, like, I don't know, they get off on it or something. Whatever, it's crazy stuff.
Yeah,
but
the Joker.
Yeah, like the Joker. Well, that's the other thing. Is the Joker like is what's the mental state of the Joker? Does he have is he a psychopath? You know.
Well, I mean, yeah, Joker is completely destroyed. But he does enjoy this because he lost his mind. Which, I mean, again, that's another character who's like true origins are kind of gray because it's been told 12 different times, completely different ways.
Yeah.
But the one that I like the most is where he was a guy who was kind of down on his luck. He wasn't rich. He was trying to be a comedian. He got offered by these gangsters like, hey, help us rob the Acme plant. There's gonna be a lot of money in for you. You can use it to like get your career of comedy going. His wife was pregnant. They were basically on their like last bit of money to keep their apartment, and then she dies. He ends up going in with it, and yeah, he lost his mind after that. Like everything just went wrong back to back to back, and he lost everything.
Yeah.
So from that point on, yeah, he's pure evil.
I think I don't really know what my favorite origin of the Joker would be. I think if I had to pick one, I know this is impure because it's not a comic, but if I had to pick one, it would probably be the one from the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie.
Yeah, that was an interesting take on it. I like that.
Yeah, because it's like they made the Joker more not relatable, but more understandable. Well, I guess, yeah, more relatable than ever before, I think. I think it was the most relatable Joker. That everybody, you know, you could be any kind of person from any walk of life and have moments or feelings like that, like he had in that movie, effectively, you know, feel downtrodden or like society isn't listening to you. To be stepped on, effectively, to be stepped on so many times that you just break.
Yeah.
So, but would that be evil? That's the question.
I mean, nobody in the city thought he was evil at the time. They thought he was great. But I mean, when you go back and see everything he actually did at the end,
yeah,
it's a little questionable at that point.
Yeah,
he was just purely out of his mind.
Yeah, it's a very gray line. It's weird. It's hard to really make a call with a lot of that stuff. Knee-jerk reaction is evil. Just bad. Go away. But if you really think about it, it's pretty complex. It's a pretty complex topic, I think.
Yeah, it's cool. But we watched a movie which has some complex characters and a very, very complex to try to understand story, even if you've watched it. And that is what was it called? The 25th Reich?
The 25th Reich. Yep.
Yeah, that was a wonderful movie. I started having high hopes like 5 minutes into it. I was like, let's look up the author or the director. And this guy is, which it's funny, I thought his name was Stephen Heinous because I thought it was Anis. And I was like, that's just unfortunate, but it's Amos. And he was a 3-time nominated director for the Australian Academy Awards. And I was like, okay, well, this guy should be good. Yeah. And like it started off and like the photography, like cinematography looked great.
Yeah.
And the acting was like, it looked like it was purposely bad. Like everything was just meant to be bad. But then it just dove into just terrible.
Yeah. What I noticed was there was one guy, all of them put on American accents.
Yeah.
But there was one guy in particular whose quote unquote deep South American accent would slip, and you could just hear pure Australian. Like you could absolutely tell this dude was an Australian guy. And they were filming in what was, I guess, supposed to be somewhere in the United States.
No, it was Australia.
So in the movie, it's supposed to be Australia.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was watching this and I'm like, if this is supposed to be the United States, this is clearly Australia. All these shots, like this is absolutely Australia. But okay, I missed that part. But no, it's the acting is very stilted, and my biggest gripe with the movie was that they hung on too many pointless scenes for too long.
Yeah,
way too long.
Yeah, I didn't like the whole thing. It was the only part I was actually interested in when they were sitting around at the camp, or I guess they didn't have a campfire, but they were camping out at night, and they were like telling why they were there. It was kind of interesting. It was like at least a look at like real life. It was very exaggerated and weird, made no sense, but they had only been together for like months at that point. Let's now sit down and get to know each other.
Yeah, and it just like so little happened over what felt like such a long period of time.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to explain. Too much of the movie was spent on stuff that just doesn't matter and did nothing to push the plot. It's like the whole movie is basically just padded. It's padding the movie.
Dude, the mosquito scene, that was like 10 minutes long.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one I was just like, okay, we get it. There's a lot of them. We can stop this. I felt like I watched the whole movie of birds in that one scene.
Yeah. And the movie's only, I think it was like just over an hour long too.
Yeah, it was 85 minutes, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it still felt like 4 hours. Like that was insane. Yeah. And the color correction, I didn't like the color correction that they used.
To make the greens very, very vibrant.
Yeah, like everything was very, the colors were just weird.
Yeah.
And the CGI, top notch CGI, man.
Yeah, the very beginning, or when they first do their whole like time traveling thing. Yeah, because we should probably say the point of the movie. Soldiers from World War II. This is the description of the movie. Soldiers from World War II are going to time travel to stop Hitler from taking over the world.
Yep.
Now that's what you get told, and that's a lie. That's not what the movie's about. That just doesn't happen. But it does have soldiers from World War II, and we got time accuracy. But yeah, like once they time travel and they're because they're supposed to be looking for these pumas, which were, I guess, the mascots of their crew. For some reason, they took live pumas to Australia.
Yeah, it was like their division or something.
Yeah, it made no sense.
Yeah,
but yeah, like they think they see the pumas, but they're like these giant cats. I don't know what the heck they were supposed to be. Like I thought maybe saber-toothed tigers, but that doesn't look like a saber-tooth. It just looks like some weird cartoon running around in real life. That shape, like it's changed size. It felt like too, because it's running between the trees and it's like it's decently big, and then it's standing on the rock over them and it's like 4 times as big as any of them.
Yeah. I feel like they took one single asset and just like clicked on the corner of it and expanded its size.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
The spider things at the end were the coolest looking thing. It still looked bad. It looked like it should have been. I mean, this was a movie from 2012, I think, and it looks like the CG was from, I don't know, a computer game in the 90s.
Yeah, like 98.
Yeah. Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, and spoiler, they don't defeat Hitler.
Yeah, it just doesn't happen. Yeah. The whole point of the movie never happens. Like they're supposed to stop Hitler from taking over the world, and yeah, nothing.
And the Nazis are trying to go to war with God using space technology, alien space tech.
Yeah. They're an army that succeeded in their goal. Their goal was to wipe out everybody who opposed them, and they apparently did it.
They did, yeah.
Yeah, go them.
And turned people. That's the question. Did they turn everybody into giant Nazi robot spiders, or was it? Because I mean, they showed like ships and tanks. Oh, okay. So, who was driving the ships and tanks then?
You can't ask too many questions. It's like, so you hear this voice talking to the main guy, like the captain, and you never know what the heck this voice is. Like they don't explain it. It's there a couple times. What do you do?
Yeah, he touches rocks, and there's an Ouroboros on them, and it glows, and then he sees space, and then he becomes like a savant with alien tech.
Yeah.
No sense. Makes no sense.
Yep.
It was terrible. Honestly, that movie made me angrier than the dinosaur one. Yeah. I think it was worse.
Here was a part I loved. So the sergeant ends up like taking over and pointing his guns at the captain and the other 2 homies. And then from that point on, he looks at them and he says, I want you guys to know that not obeying your leader is a crime. It's treason. And it's like, dude, your captain is above you. What are you talking about right now? Like, what logic does that make? Like, I'm underneath you, but if you disobey me, who is apparently above you now, you're committing a crime.
Yeah, the movie was totally nonsensical. And like, I wish there was more to say in terms of like the stuff that happened, but nothing happened. They walked through the woods. Well, sorry. They walk through the woods with a time machine. They go back in time. They get attacked by mosquitoes. They walk through the woods more. They camp. A guy gets stabbed in the stomach and lives somehow. They camp some more. They find a ship. A guy touches stones. The stones tell him how stuff works, and the ship magically opens.
Yeah,
Nazi
and then
takes
another guy who wasn't part of that conversation is the one who takes the ship. And it's like, how does he know how to do this?
Yeah. Figure out that the captain or whoever is actually a Luftwaffe officer.
Yeah.
And then he takes the ship back to, I guess he took it back to like the 40s. And then the savant who rebuilt the time machine accidentally brought them to 2240 something.
Yeah.
How did that work? Like, why did he bring him to 2200?
Yeah, but yeah, what was great is once they made it back, so they're looking out there and the other guy's like asking him, so, how do you know we're back? And he just points up at the moon. Because there's a moon, we're obviously back in the right time.
Yeah, I didn't get that. I didn't get that. I mean, like the state of the moon was different.
Yeah.
Because like when they left, it was a full moon, but then when they got back, it was like, I don't know, like a 1/3 whatever moon.
Yeah.
But like, how does that? How does that like?
Well, they didn't destroy the moon, so obviously we're back.
Like,
the moon wasn't created until World War II.
Yeah, no, man. I mean, the moon is a construct.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hollow. I've seen that movie, Moonfall. Everybody's got to watch it. It's a true documentary of what the moon is.
I still got to watch that movie.
It's great. It's a great B movie. I mean, it had high budget and like it paid some big names to be in it, but
yeah,
it's a great B movie. I don't care what they say.
I'm sure it's probably good.
Yeah, it got hated on because it's a disaster movie and people just hate disaster movies.
But it's a more unique disaster movie, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good take on it.
Yeah. Yeah, with a cool
it's not starring The Rock, which is great because San Andreas was not great.
Dude, I watched one trailer for that movie and was like, nah, nope.
I wanted to see how like accurate they were going to be to California and like the science of it all. And it was bad.
Well, you can't expect any of that.
Yeah. You can't have hopes. It was like, there's another movie to watch sometime, Geostorm. It's also not great.
Geostorm.
Yeah, it's starring the gamer, whatever his name is.
Gerard Butler.
Yeah.
Geostorm.
Yeah, that was one that I think I watched that in theaters.
This one's good?
I like to waste money sometimes.
So is it bad then, or
it's kind of boring. It has some interesting fake science going on in it. Which you can just be like, okay, whatever. They're just saying made up stuff. I get it. It's fantastic. But yeah, no, the movie's dumb. Like I hate to say that. It's just it's not it's one of the worst disaster movies I've seen. It's below San Andreas or whatever that movie was called.
To say a disaster movie is boring is probably the worst thing.
Yeah. Let's go back to what was that, the day before or whatever.
What,
that one was the one
Day After Tomorrow?
Yeah, Day After Tomorrow. There we go.
Yeah.
That one is great. Like it might not be like the most logical movie, but at least it keeps you interested. You're going to watch this movie the whole way through.
Yeah, it's good.
And that's all it needs to be, is just something that keeps your interest.
Yeah, and then there's 2012, which sucked, but at least was kind of entertaining.
Yeah, it also kept your interest.
It did, yeah. Yeah, it was like up and down and up and down, but like on the downs, it was building up to the next up enough that it kept you interested. So like there was never too much of a lull in that one. They suck. I think they're kind of. I'm not the biggest fan of disaster movies for the most part, but at least those two were not boring.
Well, have you ever seen Volcano?
Oh yes, yes,
Yeah.
I have.
That is a good one. That one,
good.
it's older, but it's got a good story. It may be a little weird, but at least it's kind of sensical in ways. It happens way too fast, but it's sensical.
There was Volcano, and there was another one. Was Volcano the one that took place in California?
It was either California or like Washington, because it was a West Coast volcano. I remember that much.
Yeah, because there's one that takes place. I think you're right. It's like Washington or somewhere over there, and then there's another one that takes place like in L.A., like it's in California. Hold on, this is gonna bother me because Volcano is one of them. There were two that I watched a lot when I was a kid.
Tommy Lee Jones is in the one I'm thinking of.
Dante's Peak.
Is that the one he's in? Or is
no, Pierce Brosnan is in Dante's Peak.
Okay, yeah, there we go.
Volcano is the Tommy Lee Jones one, and that's the one I'm pretty sure is in L.A. And then Dante's Peak is the one that takes place. I'm also pretty sure in Washington or somewhere around there.
Well, I know Dante's Peak can be seen from Stockton,
so
or at least outside of it. You can look off to the side and see it when you're driving down 99.
Maybe I got them flipped.
Could be.
Both of them are great, though. Those are great.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, Volcano, Tommy Lee Jones. Yep. Yeah, I guess so Dante's Peak and Volcano are referenced together a lot of the time. Yeah, because they're both like iconic volcano movies from the 90s.
Yep. Oh, which speaking of old stuff, I was reading something. So apparently there's I didn't know about this, but I guess it was in 2022 or 2023. There were these kids who in I think it was North Dakota. It was a Dakota, one of them. Probably East Dakota, the most popular one.
Yeah.
But, these kids were like hiking and they were digging around and stuff, and they actually came across a juvenile T-Rex skull.
Oh,
yeah, and it's getting put into a museum. Like it was all over the news apparently like 3-4 days ago, and I just saw it today while searching through Google.
That's crazy, man.
I thought that was pretty dope. Like we have, we're still discovering new dinosaur bones, especially like a younger T-Rex too.
Yeah, have we ever discovered a young, like a younger T-Rex or anything?
I'm sure we have. I don't know if we've discovered them here, like in the States, but I'm sure we have somewhere.
Well, I know America has an insane amount of dinosaur bones.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure both North and South America have like crazy amounts of dinosaur bones.
Yeah.
Like more than Europe and Africa and stuff. I don't know why, or at least we found more here.
Yeah. It'd be cool if we could go to like Brazil or something like that and like without damaging the rainforest, dig underneath it.
Yeah.
And like find out what's underneath there. Cause I'm sure there's like just gold to find down there.
Well, it's like all those cities, like, I don't know, Mayan, Inca, Aztec, whichever one. But there's whole cities that were just consumed by the rainforest.
Yep.
I think they found one recently. They were doing like LiDAR or it was some kind of DAR. I think it was LiDAR, and they were searching through the forest to see if they could map under the brush and everything. And they recently found a giant city down there somewhere in South America.
Well, I think that's the one that we see in Uncharted 3. Because you go under, I'm pretty sure it's out there. You go underneath everything, and there's like this huge, just giant city of gold down there. You have this epic shootout there. It's probably one of the coolest things about that whole series is that shootout in that city.
Yeah, I still got to play through 2 and 3. I got through 1. I started 2, but I got some fatigue at that point. I'm going to go back and play 2 and 3 because they're good.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've been on for a little bit. I think we should probably start to wrap this up because now we're just off of evil people and talking about cool things on the side. But I mean, we started off talking about the MCU for some reason. Yep,
It always
that's my
comes
fault.
up.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's come up every episode so far.
Every episode.
Yep.
That's all right.
It's good stuff. It's good stuff.
Yeah, it can be.
Yeah, so you have a video coming out Monday. I was gonna say tomorrow,
Monday.
but it's not Sunday yet.
Yeah, actually, no. Yeah, Monday.
Yeah.
The Blender video talking about some historical video games.
So we're gonna learn.
Yeah, you're gonna be learning.
Do some learning. Oh, speaking of historical, sorry, I got to interrupt and go back to another topic. I mean, it's history related, but Civilization 7 or whatever was announced.
Yes, actually, I saw that on their feed on Steam.
Yeah, I was kind of excited about that one, because it's nice to see Civ just sticking around, even though I feel like they should be on like Civ 50 by now.
Well, they don't do a yearly release, thankfully. So,
yeah.
Call
of Duty Civilization.
Yeah, Call of Duty Civilization crossover event. I mean, I'm thinking about that now. That'd kind of be cool, actually. Like you get these skins that are like different historical figures. It's
gonna be Gandhi shooting up people.
And that would actually be pretty cool. No, but yeah, they announced that. People seem like kind of, because they didn't show any gameplay or anything. There's no info. It's just a teaser. But people seem kind of both like, I want more of the last one, and also some people seem to say they want it to be nothing like the last one.
Yeah.
So we'll see what they do.
I mean, I want it to be like the last one. The last one made it to Switch, and that made me happy.
It's a decent game. I like it.
It's I feel like it's more cartoony as we've gone on. It gets more silly.
Yeah.
But it's still fun to play.
I don't mind the art style. I think the cartoonier art style is pretty cool. If it fits weirdly. I think that game, the gameplay and its design and everything doesn't lend itself to be serious enough to warrant like a more realistic art style. So I think the art style actually really fits for the type of game that it is.
I think as long as they don't go like chibi with it.
Yeah, no.
That would be terrible.
That'd be dumb.
Yeah, so then we have besides the Blender, we have you're doing a Nerd Talk Thursday video too. Yes,
the Nerd Talk Thursday is going to be an interesting one. It's touchy, I guess. It's kind of riding off of the Juneteenth time frame. It's going to be about, well, I should say it's going to be the first in a series of videos that I hope to do on social commentary through the entirety of Star Trek, from the original series all the way up to Voyager. I mean, I could even include the newer ones too, but I haven't watched them much. But this one in particular is going to be about a specific episode in DS9 and Captain Sisko dealing with racism and what Star Trek says about racism and the social commentary on that. I think it's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's Star Trek, so it's going to be cool because, everybody knows that the Star Trek fans are the coolest people ever.
Whoa, now. Whoa, now.
Yeah. So those are something to look forward to. And then we'll have more coming the week after that, which I'm working on a couple of videos. Hopefully they do well. Hopefully I finish them sometime soon.
Hopefully. Yeah. And more shorts. We got more shorts coming.
Yes. Everybody's got to watch those shorts. We're going to be doing 2 series of shorts, at least for now, 2 series, probably more to come. But we're doing 60-second game reviews, which we have fun with those.
Yeah.
And then we're going to start doing 60-second movie reviews. Nothing really new, more of like movies that have been out for a while. I'm trying to keep myself to like the ones that were popular at least. Yeah. So there's going to be one coming out of Gone in 60 Seconds, which that's going to be great. the remake of the movie with Nicolas Cage, because it's a fantastic movie. At least it's fun to make fun of. But,
10 out of 10.
Yeah, it's a 50 out of 10. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even count that high, but it's a 50 out of 10.
What's 50?
Yeah, it's somewhere after 1. I know that much.
I don't even have hands, man.
Yeah, birds don't have hands. Birds aren't real, so you mean nothing about you is real.
Well, wait a minute. Birds aren't real and Australia isn't real. So how did we watch that movie?
Because secretly Australia is part of New Zealand and New Zealand's real.
Ah, okay. Okay. That makes sense.
All right. Well, yeah. We hope you guys enjoyed our podcast. We thank you guys for coming out, and check out our videos that are coming up.
Yeah.
And until next time, take care.